Welcome to the Active Aging Resources Podcast. I'm Kathy, your host, here to support and celebrate the journey of aging. Each week, we'll chat with experts who'll share helpful tips and resources to help you live your best life. Be sure to subscribe and visit activeagingresources.com for insights and inspiration. Hi, today I'm speaking with Aaron Murphy. He's the owner and founder of Forever Home in Washington State. He creates aging in place experts, designs inclusive housing solutions that offer freedom to stay where you love and thrive where you live. I love that byline.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, Aaron.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. So, your mission focuses on creating aging in place business leaders through training, coaching. How do you do this? Can you elaborate on what this actually looks like in practice?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a licensed architect in Washington, and we've been doing aging in place as a part of our firm for as long as I've been in business, which is over 15 years.
Wow.
What I realized is that at the pace that people are aging, and there's coming up soon more 65-year-olds than 18-year-olds for the first time in the history of the world, that there needed to be more of me. And what I've done at my firm is I've scaled the company. And I wanted to teach other people how to do what I've done, which has become synonymous with the term aging in place in their own Tri-County area. And so that's what inspired me to start Forever Home and build out the coursework of our best practices. And it's 15 years of wins and losses that teach the lessons that got me here. And so I felt like, and I didn't have to do it, I needed to do it, meaning I couldn't sleep at night if I did not go share what I've done, because I want there to be 1,000 of me in the United States.
Oh, I love that.
So that's what inspired the coursework. We have 4 areas of study, 12 modules, 36 courses. And then if you want the accountability, we also do one-on-one and group coaching. So just
That's
a function of what fits your budget and how quick you want to move the needle in your company related to becoming that go-to expert.
Okay. What do you believe are the key elements that make a home really suitable for aging in place?
Yeah, the list is long and varied. I wish there was a one size fits all, but that's never true. Same, just like any architecture project, right? Spec houses work great on flat lots, but that's not the truth of any particular parcel, right? And the further we get into this and the more we try to create housing that is deathly behind the curve, as far as supply and demand, which is why we're having a housing crisis price-wise for
Right.
affordability. Each lot's unique. Well, so is each aging person, right? Everybody over 50 plus. I've had toe surgery. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. My body's different than yours, and I'm 50, right? So there's not going to be one size fits all. What I like to explain to people is that you're the quarterback and concierge.
Okay.
Okay, because you're a project manager, right? You need to lead the team as the designer, but you're also catering to somebody with dreams and hopes and fears, and so every product, and we know hundreds of them. That's what we've been doing, is building relationships nationwide for 15 years. So I think the real question comes to price point, because I don't ever answer the question of what does this cost or how long will this take, right? As a project manager, for me, my world works in a triangle, and it's scope, time, and money. Until I know all 3, I don't know what the job is. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So, really, what you're saying is the key elements are different for everybody, really.
Right. I could have just said the word grab bar. I could have just said
Exactly,
the
which is the first
word
thing that
zero
comes to people's
threshold
minds.
shower. But my point was that your property and your body are different than your neighbors.
Absolutely.
So there isn't a simple answer for that. And again, I wish there was, but it's not true.
So, is there a way of making a housing solution flexible, adaptable for
For
people
sure.
as they grow older?
Yeah. So great story, actually. So we just designed and built a spec house, myself and a contractor here in Washington, um, to test this theory. We spent
Okay.
$500,000 on a home,
Mhm.
building it at construction, at the contractor's pricing. And that house was designed with flexibility. So
Okay.
while you can, there's two masters or, primary suites, right? One's upstairs with a view of the water. And when you can't do that anymore, the downstairs one is also fully accessible and on grade and blocked for grab bars and flip down seats in the shower. And so, yes, you can do flexible. And that house sold for 130,000 more than the comps, and it sold in 9 days instead of the average in the county, which was 73. And the
Wow.
buyer is somebody who has some form of early cancer. I can't speak to the buyer because we're still in closing, but
Right.
I will. We're going to interview the buyer about this and
Okay.
record it because of proof of concept that
I was
we,
just going to say that it's
yeah,
proof.
it was a test and it worked. But to answer your question, so the buyer has some form of cancer, their body is changing
Mhm.
exactly what she wanted, right? The master upstairs, well, you can. Primary, sorry, that's a hard word to break. And then downstairs when she can't. And to have both, right? So, anyway, yes, you can be flexible. The story I was actually thinking of, I had a builder come to me in our small town of Poulsbo, Washington, and he's done 1,300 doors in Vegas before. So, he is a very seasoned builder.
I guess
He
so.
walked into this office 3 years ago and dropped 4 floor plans on my desk behind me and said, "These are southwest, make them northwest. I have a 24 lot plat, and we're going to design 3 or 4 homes for the plat." And you know what spec houses look like, right?
Mhm.
They mirror them, and then one's a gable, and then another one's a hip roof, and they try to make them look different.
Right.
Well, nice to meet you. Thank you very much. I gave him the book I wrote on aging in place and our
Which,
literature and my business card. And he came back a week later. He said, "Throw my plans away. We're doing aging in place."
wow. Which is what that should be happening all over.
Right. And that is my big, hairy, audacious goal, is to actually disrupt the spec builder industry, because spec build people they inherited dad's spreadsheet from 1990. The line at the bottom is black, not red. So they just go, la, 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 I can't hear you. We're fine.
Right.
Nothing about that house works for anybody over 40. And by the way, it also includes that you should be right handed, perfect height, perfect weight, perfect vision, perfect hearing, and the ability to communicate verbally with another human being. That is not everyone you know. Even if you want to be in denial about your own issues, it's not Judy, and you'd like Judy to come play cards, and you'd
Exactly.
like
One house
Stephen to come to
is
Christmas. Visitable, if nothing else, visitable, right?
absolutely. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that homeowners face when trying to modify their homes? And how do you overcome them? Do you think number one is finance?
Probably, yes. Or
Probably.
the unknown of finance.
Okay.
And so there's two things I do in that realm that have worked very well. So people come, unless you work for, Google or Microsoft or Amazon, or you don't come to me as an architect for a home anything typically until 40, because you've bought the spec house,
Well,
and spec
that-
houses they build two homes. They build the move in and the move up, and that's it.
yeah.
right? But because somebody comes to me at 40 or older, when I say to you, is there any chance you might live here in 30 years? Well, I've phrased the question in a way that the answer is always yes.
Right.
Therefore, I can say, great, let's talk about you being 70 in this house. What are mom and dad's ailments? Can we consider that stuff behind the walls and in planning and in layout? Things you will not notice, but they're there when you need them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so phrasing, words are powerful, and the way you phrase and the tone of voice and the calmness of delivery, right? When you're building trust and rapport with a client, and I've sat at the kitchen table with an 88 and an 87-year-old and the three adult children in Seattle, and it was a referral friend from college. Hey, my buddy at work, they need you. Well, he knows what I do because of how we became a local expert, right? So I went to that kitchen table and I am holding hands with he and she, and there's tears. And then we're laughing at the adult kids. Screw the kids. They're going to inherit a house worth $1.2 million. Let them fix it later. This is about your quality of life. Right. But when you can make them laugh and cry, then we can have real conversations.
Yes, you get to the
Right.
real conversation.
You get to the right. And it's
Yeah,
like peeling an onion. The truth is 3 levels deep, and you have to stay long enough. So you have to care. This can't be about money. The money will come as a professional.
yeah,
But
it's heart
when,
centered.
yeah, it
Sure,
has to be,
it
right?
has
It's
to
a
be.
caretaking mentality
Yes,
that I just lay on top of that I'm a licensed architect and CAP certified, and I have 15 years beyond the 3-day course to tell you what works.
right.
But you asked me a question, what is the barrier? Money typically, or the not knowing what the cost is, right?
Hmm.
And so you can get analysis paralysis. The
Sure.
internet's full of white noise, and you can go down any rabbit hole you want with 2 clicks and let the algorithms take over. So uh, that's why I talk about hiring professionals, because again, you might know about a grab bar and a flip down seat, or you might know about, you just interviewed or not Rapid Recess, but Syntec, right?
It's like, yes,
Right. You might know the two things.
slick sour pan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know Mark, and that's
Not
great.
everybody knows about that.
I know. That's my point, right? Our
Yes.
job in the internet age, one of the things you're required to do as a professional and an expert is to disseminate data, because
Correct.
there's too much of it. So when I can bring you, yes, there's 3,000 of them. Here are the three I usually use. Now we're just looking at something that's manageable, and we can talk about either price point or lead time to delivery, right? Post COVID, we have to think about all that stuff for contractors. Um,
Absolutely.
so in our drawings, if I put or equal in the spec, that what it means is, you can choose Pont Julia's grab bar or something of the equivalent,
Exactly.
so that you
People
leave.
don't know that there are some beautiful grab bars that don't even look like grab bars. They're thinking the
Right.
metal,
Yeah, they make stuff that looks like a towel bar, looks like a
right?
toilet paper holder, looks like a soap dispenser or a soap tray, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not building hospitals in homes. But by the way, your home should be a part of your hospital plan, because you know the stories about 8 hours in the ER
Hmm.
because of burnout and and understaffing and retirements, and
Hmm.
that could be a whole different hour of discussion,
Exactly.
right? But you
Yeah.
need your home on your thriving in place dream team, right? And sorry, I keep getting off track. You asked,
That's okay.
I'd say money. I know, it just makes my brain go.
There's,
Sorry, I
there's
know.
so much. This encompasses so much.
Lots of anecdotal experience. I can't help but draw on it when it clicks.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd say money, or overwhelm in knowledge or lack thereof.
Or not planning ahead and desperately needing a solution like now, right?
Right. And yeah, and I explain that to people. I go, as an architect, I'm not the rent a ramp guy. I'm not the grab bar by tomorrow guy. right? And there's great people out there. I'm actually in discussions with Sean at True Blue Ally about helping them with their franchisees
Okay.
to do some additional coaching beyond their onboarding, because
Hmm.
they are very focused on the 50 plus marketplace with their home maintenance and repair program, right?
Which is
We
awesome.
don't overlap, right? You come to me and I make you plan ahead.
I love that.
You weren't actually even thinking about it, but I entered the conversation in a way that you couldn't say no. So now we're talking because I led you there, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you, what inspired you personally to get involved in this?
Yeah. So I am the poster child now of the sandwich generation. I have four teenagers and four parents between 75
Oh,
and
teenagers.
83. I do. Yeah,
Okay.
15 to 19. We just launched two to college in the
Nice.
fall this year. Um, yeah, so our hands are full. And I have rentals and I have commercial buildings and I have two companies. And so, yeah, I mean, we know what it's like to juggle, and
Yeah.
including some of the out of town caretaking fears of the adult child, right?
Hmm.
What got me into this originally was my grandmother. When I went to college at the University of Washington, when I left, she was 5'9", traveling the world, playing bridge, playing cards with her friends at a master's level, and loving life. And when I got out of the University of Washington, she was 5'2", trapped in a hospital bed in the living room of a split level home in Portland, Oregon, and did not know Carl's name.
Oh,
So for her osteoporosis and Alzheimer's, at 22, I wasn't ready to learn about elder hygiene or medical or anything like that. But as somebody who just graduated architecture school, I immediately noticed that her home was broken for her needs.
absolutely.
Right, split levels are the worst. Right, it's 7 steps to the front door, then
Uh,
7 down, 8 up. Yeah, right, and the laundry's downstairs anyway, and there's no shower on the main floor anywhere. So that was what I noticed, and that was a trigger for me. But the second part of that light bulb was 15 years later, in my early 30s, right before I started ADM architecture. I bought a car off Craigslist. Two 63-year-olds brought me a vehicle. It was mom. She took great care of this old Ford Taurus or whatever I could afford. But I asked them, I was like, oh, whose car is this? Mom's. Where does she live? Assisted living down the road in our county. And I said, I'm doing a little research. Do you mind if I ask what that cost you? They said 150 grand out of pocket and 10 grand a month.
10 grand a month.
And this was, 15 years ago.
Hmm.
And I said, who can afford that? Right? I mean, that's the 1%.
For how long
So,
can you afford that?
yeah. And so those were my two light bulbs, that a
Mm.
spec house is broken for an old person, my
Yeah,
grandma.
yeah.
And then who in the heck can afford the alternative? We have to fix housing. That was so since day one at ADM Architecture, I have chosen that our unique sales position, to not compete for every waterfront home and not have to play politics in Seattle to get the best jobs. I go, what's my unique sales position that no one else is in this lane? And I chose aging in place, and I got CAP certified in 2009, and
Early.
then started making it a part of my daily discussions with our residential clients. And we do commercial too. I've done 2 million square feet of commercial buildings. So I know the ADA code and I know ANSI code, but there isn't anything like that for houses. It's not
No, there's
present.
no residential code.
Well, there's an IRC, there's a book just like this one.
Hmm.
For residential, the B is the building code, R is the
Right.
residential
Building.
code, but accessibility isn't a part of that.
No, that's what I'm.
Now,
Yes.
you have two choices, right? As a government entity, federal, state, city, whatever, carrots or sticks.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, Atlanta was incentivizing visitability, right?
I love that.
For some builders. And I do love that too, right? At least one door to your house has to be on grade,
Hmm.
and there has to be an accessible ish, different parameters, but bathroom on the main floor, so that at least Janet, who fell and broke her hip and now she's in recovery, and we love Janet and she's coming to Thanksgiving. She can use the bathroom
Can use the
and she
bathroom.
can get in your house.
Mm.
Why isn't that the baseline?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I think it soon will be.
I did too.
It's
And,
going to
and,
have to
and
be.
that's, and that's my vision. That's my passion, is to try to disrupt the spec builder industry. And like I said, we spent $500,000 borrowed to prove the point that
Wow.
this house we built sold way quicker for more money. And it's exactly the client who was looking for exactly that solution.
Did you have
Twice. This,
multiple offers on that house?
well, we took the first offer because it was full price. Two
Okay.
people in 1 week who
Yeah.
visited that home said, "We're not quite ready. Will you build it again?"
Ah,
Right? I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's
You
asking
will.
if you're paying attention.
Yeah. Do you build over 55 communities?
We don't. I've done apartments. I've done 150 unit apartment buildings. I've done hotels, but I have not done assisted living or like a Sun City. But to your point earlier, you asked, can it be flexible?
Mhm.
Right. The gentleman that came to me from Vegas, we got the job, and he said, "Let's do aging in place, not my house plans." So what I did, that I would argue is maybe the first time it's been well done in the country, I actually designed that house twice. So there's three homes, and then you change the roof lines and you mirror them, right? We designed three houses. One's 1,500 square foot Rambler, but the other two are still 2-story because the spec builder has a problem that when I'll come back to that, just remind me about,
Okay.
when you clear a forest and create a plat, and why we end up with uneven parcels and small parcels. But let's finish the house part. The other two of the three houses are 2 stories because they sell heated square feet, right? So when you have
Right.
a small lot, you have to build a 2-story home to make money, theoretically. Okay.
Yes, you want people to visit your kids, your grandkids,
Right,
right?
right. And you need someone where
Upstairs.
for them to stay and they can climb the stairs.
Right.
My point though is that these three houses I actually designed twice, in the 2 stories anyway.
Okay.
About the time that you might need an elevator is about the time you would give up a second car anyway.
True.
So if actually we've already designed the house once to be built today,
Hmm.
but we've already put a second panel for power, and we've already framed the hole for the elevator to go upstairs in one of those spots in the garage. And I've redesigned the upstairs. So right now it's a 4-bedroom. With the elevator, it becomes a 3-bedroom with a reading nook,
Okay.
right? Or the washer and dryer moved downstairs, and I took the utility room upstairs and made that the elevator shaft. Okay, so these homes are actually designed for now and designed for later with a very minor remodel
Mm.
so that it can be your forever home.
Amazing.
Because no one wants to move. The cost of moving can be up to 20% of the cost of selling your home. And who can do that at 72 or wants to? Nobody.
Well, they say, I mean, statistics show no one wants to move, right? Until they
Correct.
absolutely have to.
Right. And the
Yeah.
have to comes from the panic and the crisis and the fall and the broken hip and the ER and the rehab. And I do get those phone calls. Mom's being discharged in 4 weeks after, in-house
You need
OT,
to redo the
PT.
bathroom because she can't get
Yeah,
in her
yeah,
wheelchair.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a true blue ally, or that's somebody that can do something. But in my world, that's lipstick on a pig.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
It's a band-aid on a gaping
It is.
wound.
You're right.
But when you talk, let's say an elevator installed that's big enough for a bariatric wheelchair,
Hmm.
let's say it's $50,000.
Okay.
When I tell you, because no one has done the research to understand the price point of relativity,
Hmm.
$50,000 investing in yourself or 5 months in assisted living.
No
Sure call.
brainer.
Sure, it's a no-brainer only if you thought about it before you fell and broke your hip.
Yeah, it's so true.
Because what I do takes time, right? Design, permitting, finding a contractor, getting on a schedule, right? If you came to me today to design a new house on a lot you bought, you get the keys in 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Because permitting and yeah, they have their own staffing problems and that,
True.
jurisdictions do too, just like hospitals do. We're all struggling to find good people.
Do you find you're doing more remodels than new homes?
Right now, I would say yes because of the cost of construction, which has
Exactly.
not
And they
come
have to wait
down.
so long.
Yeah, it has not come down much post COVID. I mean, people come to an architect to design a custom home,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, when I chose to start an architecture firm in 2009, I also chose, like I said earlier, not chase waterfront, not chase millionaires, not
Right.
chase the cover of Dwell and House magazine, magazine. That's not who I am. I choose to do more work for less money for clients I would have a beer with.
Love
That's
that.
my personal, that's how I sleep at night. That's what I've chosen. And in that belief system is that there are certain things that happen in life that are not about disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
Families grow, people age, change happens, right? If you live in a town like I do, my kids can't afford to live here. I couldn't even buy the three houses I own today if I had to rebuy them again today, right?
Outside of Boston, forget it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, ridiculous. So
Yeah.
similar in Seattle, and so my point is to yours that yes, remodeling and additions are probably 2/3 of what we do.
Okay.
And again, when you come to me, it might be because my son's moving home and now I work from home and we need another office and another bedroom or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, in that process, I also talk about if you're going to invest this much
Planning
money, can we
ahead.
talk about this house lasting until you're 85 instead of 70?
Yeah. It's so important to plan ahead. I mean, I see it. So it requires aging in place requires working with occupational therapists, physical therapists, designers,
Yeah.
a whole lot of people.
Right.
So how do you collaborate with other professionals to come up with the design and what a person actually needs?
Sure. Yeah. Again, a function of scope, time, and money, right? How
Yeah.
many people can I bring to the table? Well, that's a function of both time and money.
Okay.
I do my best to include OT when it is physically specific to, because I'll sit down to any client and go, hey, talk to me once I've said, might you live here in 30 years?
Mm.
Then I can say, tell me, what were mom's ailments, dad's ailments, what is the general history? If we're all going to have a stroke on the left side, if we're all going to have Parkinson's, if we're all right, then I can start to talk about, can we have an OT? I'll take care of the building, they'll take care of the body, right? Without one, I still have to accept the project. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're not interested in that depth of detail, then I'm putting blocking on in behind the walls in the shower
To prepare
to,
for those
to
grab
prepare
bars.
for that, right? Now I don't know if you're gonna have a stroke on the left side or the right side, right? I do know that men are stronger up
Mm.
top, women are stronger in the butt, hips, and legs, but so the shower head could end up on the wrong side because we didn't know, right? But we do the best we can to be prepared for as many options that could go, to your point, flexible, right?
Flexible.
I've trademarked the term future flex.
Future flex. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
for our specification books that go with the house plans that are on Forever Home's website.
Okay.
Same idea. We'll do our best, right? But if somebody's coming home and if we have time and if they have the financial resources, I absolutely want an OT there. I'd love to talk to I have a more brains, more better mentality, and maybe that's why our tagline is architecture without the ego. I would love to talk to your certified financial planner. I would love to talk to your CPA. I would love to talk to your doctor, right? And then definitely if you have an OT or a PT already, I want that conversation in the design room.
So you get it right.
I
Or
can't I
as
can't
close
know
to
everything, but I do have a golden Rolodex.
okay, I like
One
that.
of the things we teach, right, is that you have to understand and have knowledge and connections in your parallel industries
Mhm,
if you plan to get this right. Because a referral of something you can't do is three referrals coming back to you. What I mean, right? It's the gift of the go giver, right? I'll admit when it's not in my lane, but I
mhm.
always know who to call.
That's important.
I'm two phone calls away from your answer. I got a call, my own uncle, who unfortunately just passed, but they were in a second floor condo in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm in Seattle. My cousin, who's a physical therapist in Chicago, his daughter, called me because she knows what I
Yes, you
do.
know what you do. Yeah.
She said, "Hey, dad just slipped and fell in the garage, broke his femur vertically.
Ah,
He's going to be discharged soon. They need the bed. We're not sure where he's going to go. Who do you know?" I said, "I'll be right back." Two phone calls, two emails, about 2 hours. I had somebody within an hour of him driving toward him
wow.
to help solve that problem.
Amazing.
Okay.
So you are connected throughout the United States.
Right, right. And I
Okay.
did that to prepare to teach.
Mm,
This is what you need to do. Now, maybe you don't want to do it nationally like I'm doing, but you absolutely have to do it locally to become the go-to. A lot of times people call the contractor first, right? When they're thinking about remodeling.
yeah, they do.
If you lived in a tri-county area around me
Hmm.
and you called the contractor and you met them at mom's house and you said mom wants to age in place, even if I had not met anyone in that room, the contractor would go, "Time out, you said aging in place, call Aaron."
Call Aaron. Yeah. Yeah.
Synonymous. That's
Well,
what
I
we teach.
want to make sure everyone knows how to get in touch with you.
Okay.
Call Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah, so important. Okay, so looking ahead,
Yeah.
how do you see the aging in place movement evolving, say, over the next 10 years? What's going to happen?
Yeah, so I was actually hired to go do a TV show 10 years ago in Tokyo about aging in place.
Video.
Yeah,
Oh,
someone from LA found me when I was
okay.
doing this. And so, yeah, they flew me to Tokyo to the International Home Health Expo, and they did a TV show. I got to go visit Toto's R&D department, and
Interesting.
and they put me in an age suit and
Okay.
had me test their bathroom equipment that they were working on. So the cool part about Japan is they're 15 years older than we are per capita.
Yes.
So when
Yes.
I went there 10 years ago, there were 7 ways to get in and out of a minivan in a wheelchair. Honda and Toyota were competing for this space. They
Okay.
had to guinea pig all this first. They had to start because they're older than we are.
Right
So I got to see some amazing things that are just now landing here
here.
10 plus years later. Age tech is blowing up, right? People trying to figure out how to use AI to be a caretaker. There's a robot that can carry your laundry basket. We just did a webinar. It's actually evergreen up on our website at foreverhome-us.com. If you click on webinars, called The Future of Aging in Place. And what I did was talk through kind of in the $0 to $1,000 and the 5 to 20 and the 25 plus. It categorized kind of what's coming and
Okay.
what's really being researched. Everything from robotic cats that you can pet and they walk around like companionship, right?
And you don't have to,
Isolation's a huge deal.
yeah.
So your question is, what do you think's coming? What tech is working their butts off to try to solve this right up into the point where it's not human, and we have to admit that there's a human need, right? Physical
There's a
touch.
human need. You need that
Uh,
warmth.
I know, I know, but there's a place for tech.
Sure.
I think they're just trying to find their place. 10 years ago, Lively was a company where they go, we know dad doesn't want a camera in his house. So they just had key fobs that were magnetic or something, right? It was on the door to the garage, it was on the door to the fridge, and it was on the pillbox. So all I could tell on my phone is that dad moved around like he normally does today.
Or he didn't.
Or
He
he did.
didn't take his pills.
Correct.
Yeah, he didn't open that
Right.
fridge.
When I was in Japan, so we only know Oki over here for like commercial size paper printers.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Like a $15,000 printer in a big office. But
Right.
over there, I was there and they had taken the concept of like Safeway's security camera. So there's a little globe, but it wasn't a camera, but it was a sensor on the ceiling. When I walked around the room, this little like crystal obsolescent thing sitting on the side table by the chair in this room was,
Yeah.
when I walked around, it was green. When I stopped walking, it turned blue.
Okay.
When I held my breath, it turned red and texted you.
Wow.
No camera.
No camera. So it's less invasive.
Correct. Right.
Right?
So how do I, but right. So I have a good relationship with my parents. So I can go in and go, I promise you, I do not want to see you in the bathroom on a camera. I promise. Right. But I would like the peace of mind. If you guys want to stay home, can I offer? Start thinking, if you're 50, start thinking, you're 40, start thinking about Christmas presents, right? I just put Arlo cameras up. Me and the 19-year-old boy put the cameras up, right?
Yeah.
So just for security, and start thinking about how you can gift your own peace of mind into
Gift
their
your own
lives.
peace of mind. That
Right.
is
Because as the adult child, right, you
Yeah.
want to play on the emotion of mom, I'm scared for you, or this is about how I feel, it's not about who you are, right? That's soft skills. Those are 3D skills. That's hugs and I love yous and can you let me sleep better at night?
That's it. And they want you to sleep better at night. They don't want you worrying about them.
They don't want you worried.
They
They don't
don't.
want to be a burden. They
Don't.
are fine. They will say they're fine. They're not fine. You and I know they're not. I can see dad's purple calves. I can see mom switching from the cane to the walker if her osteoarthritis is at. They're going to say they're fine. And what they mean is, I don't want to burden you.
Don't want to burden you. Okay.
So let's enable. That's you'd asked, right? So that's where start having or call me, of course, right? Right. I can consult. The cool part about that, right? I can go to your mom's house, and I'm an expert. Forget what I know. Just the fact that I'm a stranger and I got on a plane or a train or got in a car with a briefcase, I'm an expert.
Yeah.
I could give you a script. You could go talk to my mom, and she'd actually hear you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I'm just a child at 51, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're never not the child. And that's what complicates the communication. That's why you hire experts. I can get in there and have an emotional conversation, but it's not emotional about us. It's emotional about your needs, your dreams, your fears, and how can I solve your problem.
Amazing. Amazing. I am so glad that I had you on this podcast.
I'm sure we only got like 3 questions out of your 10, but
I don't know. I think you offered so much information. Wow. And I really feel that what you're sharing is of the utmost importance right now because so many of us are aging. 10,000 a day are turning 65.
Yeah, it's going to be 12,000 a day soon.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, we can't fix denial, but for those that are willing to listen, there's ideas and solutions. And any of us, lots of the people we know, obviously, if I can get a phone call that goes from Seattle to Chicago to somewhere in Orlando in 2 hours and get someone in a car, we just want to help.
We
Right.
just want to help.
Yes, we're trying to make a living. Yes, it needs to be profitable, but it's a passion first. It's a paycheck second.
Exactly. And that's exactly how I feel. Well, I'm so glad I had you on, and I hope I have you on again and hear more about what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I'd
Yeah,
love to come back. That'd be great.
great. Well, thank you so much. And how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So everything we talked about today, as far as national and all the aging in place stuff, you can go to foreverhome-us.com
Hmm?
and get a hold of me through the website there. Or the office number, again, outside of Seattle, is 360-881-0282.
And I will have all that information below.
Cool.
And I appreciate your time. And if anyone has questions, please reach out.
Yeah, yeah, start a conversation. It won't happen overnight. Let's chat.
Right. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thanks for spending time with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and share it with those who would appreciate it. Don't forget to visit activeagingresources.com for more heartwarming stories and invaluable resources. Until next time, remember to take care, stay active, and cherish every moment of your journey. We're here to help you every step of the way.